Hey guys, Ryan here with Doorcast, the garage door guy. And I've been reading some feedback on YouTube. And one of the comments was, dude, you say and way too much. I'll agree. And it's hard to host a podcast by yourself and transition between thoughts. For me, it is. Without saying and a lot. So it is a habit that I'm trying to break. And one of the ways I thought I would break it is by having a co-host join me. Everyone meet Tamara.
Hello.
Tamara's amazing. See, I did it. Anyway, but I wanted Tamara to come on because she's very smart, number one. Number two, she knows garage doors. And number three, I think she does a good job asking questions. She's very inquisitive. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I'm inquisitive.
Very inquisitive. So today we're going to be talking about how can you reduce the noise or how can you get your garage door to be more quiet? So I'm going to allow Tamara
the
conversation.
Cool. So I have a scenario for you.
Okay.
And I think this is pretty common. So if a customer comes to you and they say, Ryan, I have a garage and there's a bedroom above it. My kids are asleep in there. And every time when I leave for work in the morning, as soon as the garage door goes up, it wakes them up and it's loud, it's obnoxious. What can we do to mitigate that? Is there anything that can be done? First of all, let's start off with what causes a garage door to be noisy?
So there's a lot of moving parts on a garage door and almost all of them are metal. And so you have to understand that getting it to be completely quiet is impossible, but you can reduce the noise dramatically. And I've touched on some of this in some of our previous episodes, but just in case, so you don't have to go back and listen to them all. Like there's the main components of things that reduce noise are the garage door opener itself, the hinges, the rollers, and the quality of installation.
Okay.
So I would say that all four of those play a pretty major role in the noise, like the overall noise of a garage door for the most part.
Okay. So what would you suggest for someone that's looking to reduce the amount of noise that those parts make?
So that's a good question. A lot of cases, I would start with lubrication, using the right type of lubrication, a silicone based. I think a lot of people use like WD-40, and that's a huge no because WD-40 is like, it does the opposite of what you want it to do. It actually creates like a grit. And in that grit, you have noise. So it does the opposite of what you want. So find a silicone base. They've got like garage door lubes and stuff at Home Depot. We sell them. You could call, like if you're not local to here, you could call another door company in your town and ask them if they have a can of lube that you can buy. And I always love supporting small business. So I would start there first. And if nobody will sell you a can, then go to Home Depot or Lowe's.
Okay.
So try lubricating first. And believe it or not, like I think a lot of people miss it because the garage door is probably one of the most underappreciated parts of a home. When it comes to maintenance on a garage door, DASMA, which is kind of sets the standard of our industry, I believe they recommend you service your door like once a quarter or twice a year, something like that.
Right.
And so nobody does that hardly ever.
Right.
So that's a challenge in and of itself. So when you have dry metal on metal, it's going to squeak, it's going to squeal, it's going to make a lot of noise. And so if the lubrication doesn't get it to where you want it, one disclaimer when it comes to lubrication, especially like a spray lube, do not spray your motor rail. I see this as like one of the biggest mistakes people make, especially like if you have a chain drive opener and you want to lubricate the chain. A lot of people will take like a spray lube and they'll spray it. And then the minute they open the door, all that drips down the front of the door and you got black grease and you try to wipe it off and it just makes it worse and it's super hard to get off. So as you're driving through neighborhoods, a lot of times you'll see like a black stain going down the middle of the door. That's from that. So you want to use like a grease on the motor rail, not like a spray lubricant.
Not something super runny. Yeah.
Right. So if that doesn't work, I would look. We have like a quiet performance package that we like to offer, and although it's not like super cheap, it actually comes with quite a few things. And I don't know if you have any other questions. Am I good to kind of walk through some of the components and parts?
Yeah. Tell me about like what you can do, what kind of parts you can put on that would help with the noise reduction.
So I'm going to start with the opener.
Okay.
The opener, if you have a chain or a screw drive, those are historically going to be louder anyway. So by changing that out to a belt drive opener, you're going to dramatically reduce the noise your garage door opener is making.
Okay.
So a couple other things with that. With garage door openers, you have DC motors and you have AC motors. DC motors typically have like a high-pitched whine noise to them. So you'll hear it kind of whining a little bit. AC motors, one thing that people do complain about a lot is with AC, most AC motors will go from like 0 to full speed, like all at once. So you'll have this lunging that takes place, and then it kind of like bounces a little bit. And so that creates a lot of noise that people don't like either, especially if you have like a non-insulated door. And we'll talk about the door sections themselves too. So don't let me forget that.
Okay.
But the components of the door, as far as the opener is concerned, definitely go with a belt drive. I'm a believer that the DC motors are quieter overall, even if you get that high pitched whine noise. But if you really want to go above and beyond, you can go with a side mount opener, like a Genie or LiftMaster, where I tackle some of this in some previous episodes. It's less moving parts. You're not picking the door up from the middle. You don't have the trolley rail. These have become extremely popular, and we install them all the time now. And so I wouldn't say we're installing them as much as a trolley, but it's catching up quickly. So the idea of having that motor on the side, using an existing the tube that the springs are on to rotate to open and close the door, reduces the stress on the door, reduces the noise that it puts out, and it's significantly quieter. Now, if you do have that situation where you have the bedroom above the garage, this also helps because the vibration from the actual motor head isn't running up through the metal that we use to drop down the angle iron and into the floor, right?
Right.
Tying those into the joist, and that vibration just feeds all the way to the floor in the room above.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a bed, it's hitting the bed post and running all the way up into the bed. So this would help a lot doing the side mount motor. Even if you couldn't afford or didn't want to afford or didn't have the electrical moved over there, then the belt drive would be the next best option.
Okay.
And then we're going to move into like the hinges. So for those of you guys who are watching us on YouTube, let me change my background real quick because I got the blur on. I'm in the studio, but I want to show you this hinge that I've got here. So this is a number 3 hinge. Almost every door is going to have a number 3 hinge, unless it's super tiny. And this hinge in particular, I think it's like 11 or 12 gauge. It's pretty heavy duty. This is a commercial grade hinge for the most part. Very thick metal, but there's no metal on metal contact. And so you have like a little gasket here and here. And this piece here just runs and wraps around. And as you're moving it back and forth, normally this would rattle and give you noise. This is super quiet. It's great for reducing noise. And not only that, it comes with this like plastic sleeve. And essentially what you do is you just slide this in the hole, and then you put, which I'm not paying attention here to what I'm doing, but so no metal parts are touching. There are no metal parts touching. And to keep the sleeve in there, it even comes with like a little lock washer here, and you just slide this on, and it keeps that sleeve in place so it doesn't slide out and off. And so now you have no metal on metal anywhere. So even the roller isn't touching the metal of the hinge. So
Right.
that is, I mean, you're talking, when we do this for people, they're in awe. They're shocked how quiet it is. So
Yeah.
that hinge is super important, the little sleeve. And then next, what goes in that is the roller. So some homes have metal rollers, which are historically just really loud because if you have a metal roller rolling in a aluminum or metal track, obviously it's
Right.
very loud.
Scratchy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have a plastic roller, which doesn't really do you a whole lot of favors either. So we sell these. This is it's a single Z, but most of them are double Z, which would be a sealed ball bearing nylon roller. And this part is nylon. And then we have ball bearings inside here. And then most of the rollers we sell are what's called double Z rated, which would be sealed. This one in particular is not sealed, but sometimes they'll have plastic caps here, the ones we sell, and you can't access the ball bearings. And the reason why I like this sealed is just it's like low to no maintenance is needed. You don't have to lubricate them if they're sealed because garages are very dusty. And so what will happen is dust will get down into the bearings.
The bearings.
And when those bearings are rubbing on each other or the grit gets down in there or the dirt or whatever, it starts wearing down those bearings. And eventually you have to replace the roller.
Right.
So those are probably three of the most critical components of the noise. And a lot
you mentioned the door sections too.
Yeah, if the door sections are in good shape, well, we have a quiet performance package that we'll do, and it's like a low maintenance. It makes your door run super smooth, super quiet, and it comes with all these great things and more. But it also, I think the balance of the door plays a role too. So if your door's like super heavy or maybe they super light where maybe it flies up on its own. If it's not balanced, I think that also will play a little bit of a role in the sound. So let's move on to the door sections. And again, I've got another episode where if you guys really want to go deep into this, I think it's important, where we talk about insulated garage doors. And so a lot of times here in Atlanta, Georgia, we'll talk to customers about insulated doors and they'll be like, oh, well, I'm not really concerned about insulated door. It's a detached or whatever. So I'll just say, okay, that's fine. But are you concerned about noise? Because an insulated garage door will reduce the noise of the garage. And so if you don't have insulated, it's like a sheet of metal and you're going to get that vibration as the door is operating, going up and down. So I would say that's probably the key components. An insulated garage door, get these hinges, get the quiet operators, get the nylon rollers, and I think you're going to have a dramatically reduced noise in your garage door, and then make sure you're lubricating on a regular basis.
Sweet. That sounds awesome. Sounds like it just sounds like it's going to stay clean and be quiet for a long time.
Yeah. And actually I said lubricate, but a lot of this, there's no metal on metal, so you don't have to lubricate the hinges. If they're sealed ball bearing rollers, you don't have to lubricate them. So it's kind of low to no maintenance. The only thing you'd really have to lubricate if you changed out all that would be maybe the end bearing plates and the springs, plural, most cases.
Sweet. So quiet and low maintenance. Sounds like a win. Yeah.
It's a win for me because that's how I like to do things.
Yeah.
I'm very much a
do it once, do it right.
Do it once, do it right. In, out. I got other things to deal with. My wife doesn't like meeting contractors, so I have to take time off of work to go home and meet with them. And so I like to do it once and do it right.
Cool. Well, thank you. That was a very thorough answer.
Yeah. See, I like doing this.
Me too. It's
He's
nice.
on pass too, and we knock them out quick. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Doorcast, because we're going to bring more to you. But this one was all about how to reduce the noise of your garage door And if you like this podcast and you're in the market for a garage door, check out some of our other podcasts. You can learn everything about insulation, different styles. We go into in depth about garage door openers and everything. So we hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day.